Are you dreaming of a brighter future abroad? While the idea of moving to a foreign country like Canada is exciting, it's important to be prepared for the challenges that may come your way. Many real-life issues faced by newcomers are often unforeseen, and adapting to a new environment can be more demanding than expected. This is the gripping story of Mr. Vivin Joy, who faced a highly risky situation upon his arrival in Canada. Like many others, he had to take on these challenges due to the requirements of living and working in a foreign land. Mr. Vivin Joy arrived in Canada during the month of January, a time when winter is at its harshest. The extreme cold, heavy snowfall and severe weather conditions are something you can only truly understand when you experience them firsthand. But it wasn't just the climate that tested him. Adjusting to a new culture, unfamiliar driving conditions, and mandatory social norms added to his challenges. Without adequate preparation, venturing into such situations can be overwhelming and even dangerous. In this video, Mr. Vivin Joy shares his thrilling and inspiring journey, narrating how he overcame these unexpected difficulties with courage and determination. From dealing with cultural differences to navigating how people react to stuttering in these countries, his story is a testament to resilience and adaptability. If you're considering studying or working abroad, this is a must-listen story that will prepare you for what lies ahead. Listen to his story. Over to Mr. Vivin Joy.
Hi folks, welcome back. I moved to Vancouver, Canada on January 2023, and January is one of the coldest months over there. As you know, in order to work in Canada, we have to obtain some official documents, and the most important one is the social insurance number. Without your social insurance, we can't even open a bank account or let alone work. Obtaining the social insurance number is quite easy. We can apply it online, but the problem I had was that I didn't have an official surname in my passport. So I had to look for an in-person appointment. Unfortunately, all the in-person appointments were full, and the earliest one that I was able to obtain was on late February. It was tough to wait until that because you wouldn't get your salary, and trying to live there in a foreign country without a salary is really tough, especially if you are really just moving. So I started looking for appointments at places that are far away, and one such place is the Victoria Island. I was able to get an appointment at Newcomer. It's a place in Victoria Island, and I was able to get for the next week. I was happy, but I didn't know that this decision was going to turn into a wild ride. The appointment was at 9 a.m. and it takes 2 hours from my place. But the catch was that I had to take a ferry. In order to ensure that I got the ferry on time, I had to leave from my house at 4 a.m. But that wasn't the only issue. The temperature drops well below the freezing point during January, and the roads are covered in snow. I arrived at Canada. I was able to use my Indian driving license for up to 6 months. So for this travel, I decided to rent a car. But driving in these conditions requires extra caution. So I got a car with all season tires, and I braced myself for the adventure. A lot could have gone wrong. It was my first time driving on the snow, and I had to navigate a 1 hour drive in the pitch darkness and with the snow still falling down. I was driving a new car on the slippery roads, and it was also my first time taking the ferry. I had no clue where to park my car on the ferry or even how to figure out which gates to enter. Also, I wasn't sure if I could even have my breakfast before I reached the office. And to top it off, I only had an Indian Forex card which I reloaded on a need by need basis. So, so when I was driving at 70 kilometers per hour on that slippery roads, I honestly kept questioning myself whether I was taking the right decision. So I finally made it to the Vancouver ferry dock at 5 a.m. and I was actually 15 minutes early. I parked my car on the ferry and just sat there for a moment. That's when I realized, oops, I made a big mistake. I sat in the car and, and since it was very cold, I turned on my car heater and I actually sat there till they completed the entire onboarding. It was a surreal experience. It was the first time I was taking a ferry and I was sitting on my car in that boat. To my surprise, all people after parking immediately went up to the boat and they even had the provision for a breakfast. So I purchased a breakfast and I had a good meal and a cup of hot coffee. And the ferry reached the Nanaimo dock at 8 a.m. By the time I took the car out of the ferry, it was around 8:20 a.m. I rushed soon to the Service Canada office, hoping that I could reach before my appointment time. It was actually difficult to find a parking spot since the office was in the downtown. But I was able to find one spot and I entered the office. But to the horror, I realized that it was the wrong office. My appointment was actually scheduled at a different office in Nanaimo and it was not at the downtown office. Took my car and hurried to that location, hoping that they would still let me in. I was able to find a parking spot, but unfortunately my Forex card didn't work there. I tried a couple of times, but it failed, and I just left my car and started running. Finally, I was able to reach the office, but 15 minutes late to my appointment. But surprisingly, they allowed me in, and I was able to get my social insurance number. But during the appointment, I was worried about my stuttering, whether I could state the purpose of my visit and provide all my details clearly. I was able to do my breathing exercise before my name was called out and I was able to approach them calmly. I also found that their approach towards my stammering was pretty calm and, and they had a lot of patience. I was able to answer all their questions properly, even though I stuttered here and there, but I was pretty happy that I was able to do all these things, even though it took a lot of time. I was actually able to get my social insurance on the very same day, and the overall experience was quite humbling. It was my first experience in Canada, and I faced many similar more experiences. It can get a bit overwhelming, especially when you have to deal with your stutter as well. But I'll be back with tips on how I was able to deal with my stuttering on such similar experiences. Until then, bye for now.